Hey everyone, what's going on? RTHS here with the next episode in uh, building a PT model series. Joined, at least for now, by Colette here. Her best job keeping me warm while I shoot this video. Oh, hey, yeah? You gonna help? Okay. So with her help, today we are going to go over creating league totals, wobble weights, and other statistics that help us set the run environment. Okay, maybe we won't get her help. Alright, Colette. A lot of what we're going to go over today goes back to the book Playing the Percentages in Baseball by Tom Tango. I can't remember exactly when this came out. It's a decently old book at this point, but all the principles inside it are still, you know, still sound today. It's what allows us to understand things like WOBA. If you can't tell, I haven't read it yet. It's on its way. I was hoping it was going to be one of my Christmas presents this year. It was not. Uh, my parents instead foolishly got me a book on the Astros cheating scandal. I don't know why they would think I would want that for Christmas instead of Tom Tango. Unrelated, we watched the Astros Edge, the frontline documentary on the Astros, on Christmas Day. So maybe they had maybe they had a point. The other thing I'm going to reference a ton in the rest of the series, not so much today, but in the rest of the series, we're going to talk about the sabermetrics library from Fangraphs. So this is completely free to access, and they're also pretty old articles. You can see this article's from 2010, but they do a really good job. They explain here, weighted on base average, WOBA, and mentioned it was created by Tom Tango and used in the book. Talked about, tells you how to calculate it and all that kind of stuff, and it also tells you why. This is really helpful. They have some for offense, they have some for defense, some for pitching. They've also got a primer on WAR here and how to calculate it for various positions. This is actually, these formulas in this section are actually what I use to create my WAR. My position player WAR is still pretty much based in Fangraphs WAR. My pitcher WAR is slightly different in 24 due to the introduction of PBABIP. Actually, it's fairly different than Fangraphs WAR. Fangraphs WAR is FIP focused, it's based in FIP, and FIP WAR does not work in Out of the Park anymore. It's very, very misleading. You can look at this Addy Joss card. This Addy Joss is always gonna struggle with FIP because of the lower stuff, but the lack of strikeouts really hurts his FIP. And you can see this year, his FIP WAR here is 2.5, but his R WAR, which is based on runs allowed, is 3.5. But that's just one example of why I don't like FIP based WAR for perfect or for Out of the Park and Perfect Team since the introduction of PBAP. In the last video, we went over pivot tables, and I mentioned that I didn't really like pivot tables except to make really quick calculations. And this is actually a perfect example of when I would use a pivot table is for calculating these league totals. So we're gonna come over to the original batters table to get the league totals. So insert pivot table. Finn goes crazy over there. We rename it to weights. Weights. I'm gonna move it all the way over here just for my own sake. And we need the following. We need plate appearances, at-bats, hits, singles, doubles, triples, home runs. Then we need to add unintentional walks, so we're going to add a calculated field here. I'm going to call it UBB. And it is walks minus intentional walks. Hit add and OK. Adds it there. Then we want IBB, hit by pitch, sacrifice hits, sac flies, stolen bases, pot stealing, RBI, runs, and games started. As we are now joined by cat number 2. Finn, are you going to help us? So now you can see I've added a bunch of labels in here that we are going to now calculate. So let me zoom in a little bit so it's a little easier to see. We're going to be doing most of this episode, and probably the rest of the episodes. Most of them are going to be spent in Excel. All of these labels that I've added here, they are used in calculating WAR in some way. Either they are, used directly in doing something like finding the WOBA, or they're a step in that direction. We're gonna calculate these first 4 here first. These 4 here. So unproductive plate appearances is at bats minus. Actually, I don't know why I did that. We could just do bats minus hits plus sack flies did not get added. Finn, what are you doing over there? Can't really see it because the camera angle throws it off. He rotated my monitor because he wanted to stand on it. He is a total goober. No, I do not think it looked better rotated, Finn. Yeah, thank you for lowering your tail. No one wants to see that. Apparently I forgot to add sack flies in here. I hope I mentioned sack flies, because it's supposed to be in here, but I just forgot to click it, I think. Just realized I made that entire thing about adding sack flies and was on the wrong scene. Because I had to send, mid-shoot, I had to send my friend a screenshot of the full webcam of Finn being unapologetic. Alright, now I think we're ready to go. So, unproductive plate appearances is at bats minus hits plus sack flies. And for this section, if you're doing it with pivot tables, I strongly recommend you just click on the cell. Because you can see here it really does not like the it really throws a ton of stuff in there with the get pivot data. It's trying to make sure it's always going to get the correct data. It's always going to refer back to the sum of at bats, no matter where sum of at bats moves in the pivot table or in the sheet. And you could always do equals B3 minus C3 plus N. No, that's not helpful. Then we do productive plate appearances, so that is going to be hits plus unintentional walks plus hit by pitch plus sack fly, and the total outs is plate appearances minus hits minus unintentional walks minus hit by pitch. Actually, we need all walks, so we're going to add in intentional walks here. Plus pot steal. That is our total out number. And runs per out is pretty easy. It is number of runs divided by total outs. So now we can jump down here to the linear weights section. And we're going to add in a ton of linear weights here really quickly. And we'll come back to the WOBA weights later. need the Woba scale in order to do that. All the numbers in here are just the average of what the run value of certain outcomes has been context independent over 50 years of baseball history, and is interfering with the video shoot again. So do runs per out plus 0.4 plus 0.025. That's for hit by pitches. And then unintentional walks is runs per out plus 0.4. Singles is runs per out plus 0.14 plus 0.155. Double is runs per out plus 0.14 plus 0.155 plus 0.3. I'm gonna, nope, I wanted to Control A on that. And we're just copy that down here, plus 0.27. And then home runs and stolen bases are, we just know those numbers. We don't have to correlate them to runs per out. We know that the average home run, context independent, is worth 1.4 runs. And same with stolen bases, they're worth 0.2 runs. Caught stealing, different. It is 2 times runs per out. And then just a little bit of additional negative value there to correlate for the fact that it's compensate for the fact that it's a very unproductive, very harmful outcome. So now that we have these linear weights, we can go calculate the run value for all these outcomes, and that is the sum of the outcome times that linear weight. Let's move run values over 1 because we're not going to calculate the run value of hits. It is sum of singles times weight, sum of doubles times weight, stolen bases times base weight, I'm going to put the negative there because stolen bases are a negative outcome. I don't put it here because if you don't put it here correctly in this weight, it messes up the calculation pretty badly. And I've done that in the past, and that has really thrown off my modeling of base running and stolen bases. Finn, are you going to interrupt again? Yeah? Come here. Come here. And then for this, I'm just going to get the keyword back on. For this, I'm just going to do sum, and that is 5 and 5. And that is our total run value. Runs plus is total run value divided by productive plate appearances, and runs minus is total run value divided by unproductive plate appearances. Woba scale is just 1 divided by runs plus runs minus. Next up, we're going to calculate the base run number. So that is hits minus home runs plus unintentional walks plus pitches, all that is in parentheses, by the way, times runs divided by another set of parentheses around runs, and then divided by, and then another set of parentheses for that denominator. That is hits plus unintentional walks, I can see through Finn, plus hit by pitches, and then close two sets of parentheses, plus runs per game is just base runs divided by, I do a parentheses here, it is games started divided by 9, because that table here, this is pulling a game start for everyone in the lineup, include the DH, so you divide by 9 to get your true game started there. And then runs per plate appearances is exactly as it says. Runs divided by plate appearance. I'm going to go down here to runs per win really fast. This is a really, it's an intimidating looking formula, especially when you're using pivot table data to get it, because it makes the formula much longer in the text box. So I'm just gonna add it here. It is 9 times parentheses runs divided by double parentheses game started divided by 9. Again, same reason we do game started divided by 9 in runs per game. But then we're gonna add in a times 8.33 and close that double parentheses out times 1.5 plus, and that gives us a little over 10. So that's correct. Usually about 10 runs per win. The reason I'm multiplying by 8.3 here is because the home team does not always bat a full ninth inning if they bat in the ninth inning. So you need to account for the fact that you're not playing exactly exactly 9 innings for every game. And then the 1.5 and 3 is to account for the fact that this 5.2 number is the average runs scored by each team per game. But obviously, if both teams score 5.02, then it's just going to end up in a tie. So you need to get slightly above that to get a win. Welcome back, Finn. You can see here, we're looking at the guts page for Fangraphs. So this is the WOBA and FIP constants they have. And this is historical. So that's actually not the linear weight. That is this value right here that we'll calculate in a second. But you can look at the runs per win, which we did just calculate. Ours is 10.06. And you can look here. That's in line with, it's really close actually to this year's 2023's runs per win. Tournaments in the modern environment in Out of the Park are roughly 2010 run environment. This is a little bit more run-centric, about a half a run more per win, which is not that surprising. There's a decent amount of offense in Iron, but it's not absurd like a PT23. When I was preparing this video, I pulled up my PT23 model. Those are the last ones I really did all this work in Excel, rather than in R. Yeah, the runs per win over there is 11.5. Now we are going to calculate the WOBA weights. Like I said earlier, these linear weights, all the formulas in here, that is based on Tom Tango's averaging of the value of these outcomes over a 50-year environment, 50-year time period. But we need to apply it to this run environment. So in order to do that, the linear weight, parentheses, linear weight, so linear weight plus runs minus, and then all of that is times the WOBA scale. And see here, they have the dollar signs next to them. That makes them an absolute reference. What I did, I used a shortcut. If you are next to a cell reference in Excel, so right here I'm next to B13, you can hit F4 to alternate between the types of reference. So We have here, this is a complete relative reference, so if I click and drag, it's going to move the reference over. So if I drag this to, just do this. We have that. If I drag this down, it's going to make that the B13 turns into B14, which massively changes the formula. If I hit F4, makes it an absolute reference, so that B13 doesn't change, and neither does the B12, because I gave that an absolute. We drag this the rest of the way down. Actually, that is incorrect. Hold on. This is another mistake I was making with my base running earlier. Stolen base weight is just the scale. And caught stealing is just the inverse of this weight right here. So you click and drag everything down to home runs. So I'm going to delete, drag this here, right? And caught stealing is different. Caught stealing is just this times the Woba scale. Caught stealing is, do this right, negative, then 2 times runs per out times scale. There we go. So now that we have these numbers, I have the stolen base and caught stealing listed under Woba weights. We will not use them in Woba. I believe Fangraphs did that at one point as well, and maybe the original Woba included that, but we've since removed stolen bases from Woba, and we calculate it down here in weighted stolen bases. Woba is pretty easy. It is outcome times weight. So we're going to do hit by pitches times hit by pitch weight plus walk times walk weight plus single times single weight plus double times double weight plus triple times triple weight plus home run times home run weight. As the numerator, the denominator is at-bats plus unintentional walks plus hit by pitch plus sac fly. There we go, 340. So league average Woba is 340. And if we pull this up here, zoom in a little here, and we're going to split screen this really fast. So walks are worth a little more, hit by pitches are worth a little bit more, singles are worth more, doubles are worth more, triples are worth more, and home runs are worth more. So every outcome is worth more. Right? Every outcome is worth more, so obviously the Woba is going to be higher. 340, here you can see the league average Woba, and you can see there are some environments, 1999, 2000, with some really run-happy environments, some really offense-happy environments. None of the weights are as high as our environment, but the Woba still gets them. Next, we need to do weighted stolen bases. So it's going to be stolen bases times stolen base weight plus caught stealing times caught stealing weight. And that is divided by singles plus unintentional walks plus hit by pitches. And that is a very, very slightly negative number. So I was talking to Your Kidneys, who I do need to give a shout out. He was very helpful while I was preparing for this episode. We talked about quite a few things. One of the things he made clear to me again is Out of the Park is not the same as Major League Baseball, especially Perfect Team, where everyone has access to the same cards. There aren't 30 Mike Trouts in in Major League Baseball, but every team can have a Mike Trout in perfect team. So league-wide stolen bases being negative, not really a thing in most environments in real life, but definitely possible in perfect team. When the league-wide stolen base average is negative, I just zero it out. Max. There we go. So with this formula, I use this in my model building as well for zeroing out stolen bases for players. It's the max of 0 or the league-wide stolen base formula, or weighted stolen bases. So in this case, since it's below 0, it just puts 0 here. If for some reason it's above 0, it goes back. So if, for example, you just want to take this and put your own data in here, and this changes, if it goes back, this will go, if it goes positive, this will update to show the positive value. The main reason that I'm going to zero this out, both for league-wide and for batters themselves that have negative stolen base values, is because if a card's a negative base stealer, you should turn off base stealing for them. Now we need to create a second pivot table for the pitching weights. We're going to get a lot of stuff from these numbers up here for batters, but there is some stuff that I do need to pull specifically from pitchers. So, hey buddy. Hey buddy. Hey. Hello. We're going to go over to pitchers here. Actually, we're going to go to this table here because we need the fixed innings pitched number. We're going to go over here, and we're going to insert pivot table. We're going to choose existing worksheet. Go to weights, and I'm just going to plop it right here. Then we need games, innings, runs, earned runs, and strikeouts. Come here, the hit by pitch rate. That is going to be hit by pitches divided by plate appearances. Extra base hit rate is double plus triple divided by hits minus runs. And you're going to recognize that that and the third base rate are both statistics we calculated for batters here. The extra base hit rate and triple rate. Like I mentioned in that video, we calculate for batters, we calculate their individual hit by pitch, not hit by pitch, triple and extra base hit rate. But for pitchers, that value is far too divorced from their pitching performance. So we do the league average rate for that. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, why are you biting? Again, triple rate is going to be triples divided by doubles plus triples. And FIP scale. Oh, no, we skip FIP scale for now. We need league ERA. That is pretty simple. Is earned runs divided by innings pitched times 9. Surprisingly, that does not need a parentheses in it, because, yeah, PEMDAS likes it. Same thing for runs allowed per 9. So that is the exact same formula, except runs instead of earned runs. And then FIP scale is league ERA minus double parentheses home runs times 13 plus Intentional walks times 3 minus, can't see my cursor, then strikeouts times 2 divided by innings pitched. And probably recognize that formula, or the second part of that formula, as basically FIP. And that FIP scale is what allows us to accurately set FIP to the league. Because I can't see through Finn, you can see base runs here is 34,000. So base runs 34,000, and both run numbers are significantly lower than that because there's more base runs than runs actually scoring. You want to adjust back to get anything calculated on runs allowed, or anything in base run that we calculate with base runs on the correct scale of how many runs actually scored. That's the base running adjustment. RA9 adjustment's a lot easier. Okay, so I'm coming to edit this now, and I realize I didn't really go over the base run adjustment in the video. The base run adjustment is just runs divided by base runs. It's not actually to do with base running. That's a different statistic. It's to do with a base run statistic that we calculate for pitchers. So yeah, despite what I said about it being the base running adjustment, it's the base run adjustment. RA9 is, it's league RA9 minus league ERA. You can see here we're going to skip the batters faced here for batters faced per game start and batters faced per relief appearance. That is because we need to do some additional work to calculate that. So because I don't want to do that right now, I'm going to wait until I get to the point where I'm modeling stamina to calculate these numbers. What we are going to do next, we're going to add in a card list table. So there's two ways you can get this data in here. The way I recommend doing it is you go to your PT Live, or your PT card export folder. So as you can see here, that is your Out of the Park install folder. For me, I installed it right here, Out of the Park 24, and then data, and then online data, and then ptcardlist.csv. So you can do two things to get this data in here. You can go to fromtext/CSV, do the same thing. 24, data, online data. Finn is messing with my webcam back there. And open this, right? And this will pull all that data in. You can do all the stuff you want with it. I don't like doing this because of live updates. So you can see here, Austin Adams, just pulled up a random live card really fast. Austin Adams, you can see he has the +4 next to his name. So that means his overall went up 4 points, and they adjusted his data here, right? Or they adjusted his ratings. And when you're modeling, you need to model the numbers, you need to model with the correct numbers. So if this PBABIP changed, and I'm modeling assuming he's got 63 PBABIP, but he originally had like 75, and it dropped for some reason, then that's going to vastly throw off calculating. That's going to vastly throw off the calculations. I need to go feed a cat really fast. Come on, go get food. All right. Cat's fed. Let's finish this video. Like I said, since those ratings can change throughout the cycle, you need to have a snapshot of the card shop with the ratings of the cards you have data for. It's not that big of a difference. It just makes updating and adding the new data a little bit more time consuming because you're manually adding it. So what I do is I open up my PT card list .csv and I copy everything and paste. we need to get this into a query format, because otherwise it won't work very, Power Query doesn't like it until it's linked in a query. So we're going to do from table range. We're going to hit OK. That's all we need to do. Just do card list. And the only other thing we need to do is we need to hit close and load to, and then when that pops up, only create connection. We just need the connection here so we can connect it over to these rows, or these tables. So we're going to start with the batter's query. I'm going to double click it. And we're going to do a merge. We're going to merge the queries here. So you have merge and append. Append is adding the data from another query to the bottom of it. But for this, we want to merge queries, which is going to join one set of data with another set of data on the end of it, on the side. So it's going to try and match this card ID to this card ID. So we're going to hit merge card list. I'm going to do card ID and CID. Those match up. It says that it matches 344, 344. Okay, we're doing left join because batters is the table on the left, card list is the table on the right. We do a left join or left outer join. Outer here you say it tells you this is really helpful. Joins are pretty confusing, so having these explanations here is helpful. So all from first, matching from second. Hit OK, and you can see here it says card list, and instead of having values here, it says table. So when you join in Power Query, it just adds the entire query over here, or the entire matching row over here in one cell. And then you have to come in here, this button up here, the arrows pointing away from each other, and expand it. So we're going to unselect all columns because we don't need that many. We only need a few. We need bats, and then we need hello Colette, gap, power, I, avoid K's, BABIP, and speed, stealing, and base running. So that is all we need for the modeling, I believe. And normally I'm going to remove the original column name as prefix. Normally I'd uncheck that. But because I'm pulling BABIP over and I have a BABIP field off to the left here, it's not going to be happy if I have two fields that are named the same, two columns that are named the same thing. So I leave that on there. So then I'm going to select only the bats column. And I mentioned that it automatically detects the data type. Since the way Out of the Park stores it, it just stores it as a categorical variable. 1 is right, 2 is left, 3 is switch. It loads it in as a number, but Power Query is going to assume that that is a number. And so we need to switch that back to text. And once we do that, we replace values. Replace 1 with R, 2 with L, 3 with S. We're going to close and load. Let's gonna ask if she can sit on my lap, and she can. We're actually do pretty much the same thing with pictures here. Merge queries again with card list, and it's CID and card ID. Again, matches 333. Open this up, unselect, and this time we need throws and scroll down, stuff, control, home runs, BABIP, and stamina. Again, we go to throws, highlight only that one, change that back to text, and replace values. 1 is R, 2 is L. Now we're going to go back to weights, and we need to add a couple more pivot tables. So we don't need to go back to weights. We need to go to pitches. We're going to do this one first. This one's a little easier if Colette can stop adding text to the screen. Baby. You gonna help? Are you gonna help, or are you gonna keep adding text where I don't want you to add text? That's called not helping, making things harder. Nope, you're gonna walk away. She can't help the way she wants to help. She's not gonna help at all. We are going to add a pivot table here. So insert pivot table. Again, we're going to choose worksheet. Go over to weights, and I'm just going to add it right here. And I'm going to refresh, because since it's the same source as this pivot table up here, you need to refresh to get the new data in here. So we want card list throws here. Those are categories, that in the rows. And then we have innings pitched, and that is, no, we don't want innings pitched. We want batters faced. We're going to go over to batters. We're going to insert a pivot table off of this as well. And for this one, bats is our rows, and plate appearances is our values. So that breaks down batters faced and plate appearances by the handedness of the pitcher or the hitter. And we need to do this for an accurate model to account for how many lefties you're facing versus how many righties you're facing. So what we do, the reason we do pitchers first is pitchers is a little bit easier for this next part. So it is lefties divided by grand total. And this is righties divided by. Now, batters is a little harder, because switch hitters switch sides of the plate depending on the handedness of the pitcher. When there's a lefty on the mound, they're going to bat from the right side. When there's a righty on the mound, they're going to bat from the left side. So left-handed pitchers facing lefties is left divided by grand total, and facing right is parentheses right plus switch divided by grand total. And then for righties, it's the opposite. It's left plus switch divided by grand total, and right divided by. So the last thing we need to do is we need to add the fielding ratings on here and join across. And this is where it's very important we get all from first, matching from second, because if we don't do that, it's going to try and drop people with the same card ID. Hit OK. Table we're going to open up. We're going to drop everything again, and we're going to scroll down to the fielding stuff, and we're going to keep height, infield range, infield error, infield arm, double play, catcher ability, catcher arm, outfield range, outfield error, outfield arm. We're going to catch all of those, and I'm going to drop the original column prefix. We are just going to hit close and load, because we don't need to change any null values or anything like that. We just need to have all this correlated so we can do, or associated so we can do all the modeling next time. Can you set my lap for the outro? That is gonna be the end of what we're gonna do this video. That's the last thing we're gonna do. Next time we're gonna start actually modeling the data. It is gonna be a bit longer than this video. We're gonna model all of the stats and ratings in the next video, and then we'll build the models in 3 separate parts. We'll build batting, then pitching, then fielding. So I'm sure you guys are bound to have questions. Please let me know in the comments, or come check out my stream. You get to see more of this little girl and the other guy who interrupted the video. So yeah, check me out, twitch.tv/IRACTHS. And I can stop being distracted by her beauty for a minute. We can wrap this video up. And other than that, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.